How do the Chiefs not three-peat, Charles? I mean, how about me just phrasing it that way?
Yeah,
But walk me through it
here. They could be, they would have to be their own worst enemy, because I feel like every year, you look at a couple of years ago, they lose, Tyreek Hill, and then it seemed like, they don't miss a beat, right? They go out and win the Super Bowl. Last year, it seemed like they were kind of, hitting the wall a little bit towards the end of the season. And then I mentioned, the Raiders go there and beat them, and then all of a sudden it woke them up and lit a fire up under them. And then they went to Baltimore and took care of business in Baltimore, and then they go on, to win the Super Bowl. Looking at the draft, this is a team that likes to get down the field, and then there they have another guy like a Tyreek Hill that can stretch the field, get down the field and terrorize defenses down the field, which helps Patrick Mahomes show off the arm that he has. So it seems like this team every year they lose an element of their team, and then they just reload it with someone else who comes in and can contribute right away. So the only way that this team, I feel, gets derailed is if they get complacent as a team, or injuries, which could happen to any team. I think that's probably the only two things that knocks these guys off, because as long as 15 is back there, Travis Kelce is still in the game, Chris Jones is there on the defense, this team is going to be right back in the mix.
So your Super Bowl prediction would be what? Give it to me. What do you got?
Yeah, it's hard for me to knock the Chiefs off the mantle, so I'm going to say they're going to be back in the Super Bowl. And then I'm going to go with my old team. I'm going to go with the Green Bay Packers. Really like what they did in the offseason. I love the fact of, I hate that Jacobs went from, the Raiders, had to leave the Raiders to go to another team, but he went to another one of my old teams in the Packers. And then, bringing a guy on the defensive side of the ball like Xavier McKinney, a ball hawk, he's a young guy, but still a veteran, as far as I'm concerned, been in the league for a couple of years. So having additions like that, I feel like the growth of Jordan Love, I feel like you have a young guy at the quarterback who, gets to grow up with his young receivers. A-Rod, older guy, probably didn't have the type of relationships, with those young guys that you would like to have between your quarterback and receivers. But you think about Jordan Love, a young guy, who does he hang out with? He hangs out with the other young guys. So these guys now, I feel like the weapons that he has, at the receiver position reminds me of when I played there, when we had a Greg Jennings, a Donald Driver, Jordy Nelson, and Jermichael Finley. Like, we had, weapons, all over the place. And I feel like he has that now. I feel like the Packers always do really well in terms of bringing in young, talented receivers. So I'm going to go with a young Packers team that's hungry, that last year had a real shot, at making it, getting to the Super Bowl and getting and having a shot at winning it again. So I'm going to go Kansas City Chiefs, Green Bay Packers.
And then who wins it? Got to give me a winner. Come on.
Well, I got to go with the Pack. I mean, if I got one of my teams in the show.
Wow. Okay. All right.
I got to go with that team. Yeah.
Well, the Packers getting to the Super Bowl over the Lions or the Eagles or the Cowboys or the 49ers or any of the other teams that made the playoffs last year would be kind of surprising. And then for them to be the ones to stand in the way of the Chiefs, that would make you, one of one, I imagine, outside of Cheesehead Nation.
That would. Well, I'm all about being first.
Okay. All right. I know that.
Yeah. If you ain't first, you're last.
That's right. Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.